Welcome to the tutorial of the new Deep Assessment Registry. This session is dedicated to exploring how the Assessment Registry, a key component of DEEP, processes and analyzes assessment reports for humanitarian efforts. Let's begin mastering this essential tool. The preliminary step before using the Assessment Registry is to evaluate whether a document added to our project in DEEP is a needs assessment or not. To do this, we should consult the definition of a needs assessment and the criteria to determine if a document is considered as such. If the document meets the requirements, then we should check the As Assessment box available in the menu that appears when adding a document to DEEP. If you want to check this box on a document already existing in your DEEP project, click on the pencil icon to the right of your Sources menu, where you can mark As Assessment. To start the registration of your assessment, click on the Assessment button on the right side of the Sources screen. In the Metadata tab of the Deep Assessment Registry, you'll find a concise yet comprehensive set of categories that are key to contextualizing each assessment. From pinpointing the countries involved to defining the crisis type and date, you'll lay the groundwork of your assessment's context. You'll note the level of preparedness and any external support received, classify the coordination efforts, and detail the type of assessment conducted. Additionally, you'll link the assessment to established guidelines, specify the frequency of reporting, ensure confidentiality, list available languages, and note the report's length. Finally, documenting the stakeholders involved paints a complete picture of the collaborative effort behind each assessment. In the Additional Documents tab of the Deep Assessment Registry, you have the flexibility to enhance your assessment with key supplementary materials. You can insert the content of the executive summary of your assessment, upload datasets, questionnaires, and any other relevant files like maps or versions of the assessment in other languages and formats. In the Focus tab, you can categorize your assessment data according to several metrics depending on its content. You will tick the boxes displayed if the assessment includes any information about specific framework pillars, affected groups like refugees or internally displaced persons, geographic locations covered, and humanitarian sectors addressed. If your assessment involves the protection sector, the Protection Information Management Systems section will be enabled, allowing you to specify protection-related metrics. This organization ensures your data is aligned with key areas of interest and accurately represents the scope of your assessment. In the Methodology section, you'll explore the procedures and approaches used in your assessment. This crucial step sheds light on the validity of your findings. It requires detailing the specific objectives, describing the data collection techniques used, outlining the sampling methods, and acknowledging any limitations or biases present in the study. Grasping the methodology gives you a clear view of the assessment's reliability and the level of confidence you can have in its conclusions. So far, the first 4 tabs of the Assessment Registry have contained metadata from the assessments added to it. However, the Summary tab contains specific information for quantifying, identifying relevant data, and beginning to condense the assessment's analytically valuable content. In this tab, you can assign various categories and subcategories of information related to the different pillars of DEEP's generic analytical framework. As a user of the Assessment Registry, you will need to assign different text excerpts that summarize the main issues associated with each information category. In addition to this qualitative component, there are several spaces where you can enter key figures identified in your document. The Operational Environment section will always be active, while the appearance of the sectors at the bottom of the Summary menu will depend on having checked these sectors in the Focus tab. At the end of the Summary menu, you will see a series of charts automatically generated from the figures you have entered in the different categories of the menu. Finally, you arrive at evaluating the quality and usability of each assessment. Here, the depth, clarity, and credibility of the reports are critically analyzed. This involves evaluating the evidence used, the thoroughness of the analysis, and the relevance of the findings, a crucial step in determining the assessment's usefulness for humanitarian action and decision-making. Unlike the Score tab in the previous version of the Assessment Registry, quality and analytical density are now scored in 2 separate sub-tabs. Alongside the quality scoring scale, you can now write a justification for the chosen score, ensuring a record of the process followed to reach these conclusions. Analytical density is scored in a more intuitive and documented way than in the previous version, For each sector covered by the assessment, you will mark the boxes assigned for different analysis levels and figures, allowing DEEP to automatically calculate the score based on the number of boxes marked. Lastly, the CNA tab will appear in your registry if the assessment has been categorized as coordinated in the Metadata tab. Similar to the previous version of the Assessment Registry in DEEP, you will answer yes or no to various questions designed by the Global Public Policy Institute to evaluate coordinated, multi-sector needs assessments. Similar to the quality and analytical value scores, DEEP will aggregate the scores from the different indicators to obtain the CNA score. Similar to the process for exporting your entries, you can also export the content of your assessment registry in DEEP. To do this, click on the same export menu you use for exporting your entries and select New Assessment Export. After waiting for DEEP to process this export, you will receive an Excel file containing a record of all the needs assessments processed in the assessment registry, with all the details and metadata entered throughout the explained steps. This export is an easily distributable file with other stakeholders, and its format will be familiar, as it is the typical format of other assessment registries created by the humanitarian community. Thank you for joining this tutorial on the DEEP Assessment Registry. We hope you found the information helpful and feel more confident in navigating and utilizing this crucial tool.